Go for it.
Hello, this is Becky Baldwin, and you're watching The Metal Voice.
Feel the power, feel the force, feel the metal noise. Tune in and turn it up on The Metal Voice. The Metal Voice. Yeah, The Metal Voice.
What's happening, everyone? This is Neil Turbin. We're here at the Metal Hall of Fame at the Grand Theater over here in Anaheim, California for the NAMM Show 2025. And guess who we have in the house tonight? Becky Baldwin from Mercyful Fate. Hey, Becky, it's so great to see you.
Hey, yes, good to see you. Thanks for chatting with me.
We tried to get you last year, but you were a little popular last year, even like this year, even more. But
Yeah, it was very overwhelming last year. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect on the red carpet thing, and I didn't know that there was going to be loads of interviews, like one to the other. And yeah, there was a lot to talk about last year with like just joining Mercyful Fate officially just a couple of weeks before. But yeah, so now it's like kind of the anniversary of joining, and it's great to be back at NAMM. And yeah, just like kind of see how the year has gone. There's been a couple of Mercyful Fate shows, but to be honest, like I guess not that much has changed. I still feel like I'm settling into the role in some ways, but yeah, it's really cool to be back and see NAMM again and here at the Metal Hall of Fame. It's really cool.
I love King. I mean, he's such a phenomenon. I mean, what an incredible singer. I mean, he was always an incredible singer.
Yeah.
And he's incredible to this moment. I mean, the fact that he's swinging, swinging it and bringing it and swinging it. He's just
Yeah.
And you play with one of my friends, Mike Weed. I mean, he's great
Yes.
people, and the whole band. I mean, we love Mercyful Fate from, gosh, when I first got into heavy metal.
Yeah, they're also so talented and so influential on like the whole metal genre, and I think King is particularly impressive. Like how he just keeps getting better. Like his live shows, the performances he's giving are fantastic, and I don't think he's going to be upset for me to mention his age. Like that, he's been doing it for a long time, and he's still sounding amazing. He's had very severe surgery and managed to recover from it. And like singing is such a physical. You need your body to be healthy to do it. It's not just like, okay, my hands need to be like, I can't play with a broken finger, but the rest of it can just it's fine. But for him, he's had the surgeries he's had have been very invasive to his whole body, and but he still managed to recover from that and coming back sounding even better than ever, I think. So,
Yeah, I mean, and you have to feel good that day. It's not just about being a healthy person, but that day it doesn't help if you're having the flu or you're having
anything can go wrong, things that you pick up on tour, like any bugs, flu, and food poisoning and stuff. Like if you're sick, then it's obviously stomach acid is not good for your vocal cords.
right, and also King's doing a lot of meet and greets on the last tour.
Yeah.
So,
it's it is a risk, I guess, for bands to do that, but he wants to maintain that connection with fans, and he can't do it with everyone, but he can do a bit with some fans in a kind of more controlled environment, and that's kind of I guess what the VIP meet and greets can do for the fans and for him. So that's cool.
So I had a couple of questions since I'm pretty familiar with the King Diamond camp, and I just love the band of great people, and King and his whole team is Andy LaRocque and Matt, and the bass player. Gosh, what's
Pontus?
Pontus Egbert.
There's the
Yeah, I know.
pronunciation
There's
is
a lot. I'm probably wrong.
I can't remember what it is, but it's very Swedish.
But we were hanging out with Pontus and his wife. Very lovely people.
Yeah.
At the King Diamond show. So we had a lot of fun hanging out with, and Pernilla, Andy's wife. So Andy LaRocque. So, but I just wonder the differentiation. So to differentiate King Diamond's solo band from Mercyful Fate, I mean, obviously two different bands, two totally different material, but it's King Diamond, and it's kind of hard to, if it was like Ozzy Osbourne, if it was Black Sabbath or Blizzard of Oz, I mean, those are different. His solo thing. Yeah, that's different material. It's a different thing, but it is Ozzy, so it's hard to kind of.
Yeah.
I think there's.
I guess there's been so many different eras of Black Sabbath in terms of who's fronted them, but but Mercyful Fate has been King Diamond, like as such a like visually iconic person fronting the two, and you know, obviously the sound is very unique. Like as soon as you hear like one note of King singing, then you're like, is this Mercyful Fate or King Diamond? And you listen for a bit longer, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is. Then you can decide, you know.
So musically, do you see a distinctive difference in the writing and the direction of what the songs are about, or just kind of the feel of?
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, I guess I'd consider Mercyful Fate to be a bit more proggy in a more instrumental sense, like the arrangements musically, structurally, and in terms of like the riffs and stuff, they seem less, okay, I don't know, just structured in a less kind of pop music way. Not to say that like King Diamond is pop music, but it is more of a standard way of laying out a song. In the King Diamond, it's usually, there is usually like intro, verse, chorus, and repeat, whereas Mercyful Fate stuff is changing all the time, like so many different like times. Like, yeah, I guess, you know, they both have the kind of very proggy element, but yeah, like more instrumentally in Mercyful Fate, but maybe in King Diamond the kind of prog element is the kind of conceptness of it. You know, that like a lot of prog artists tend to go for a concept album that's more of the storytelling that's going on in the King Diamond camp, but it's, I don't know, just like musically, structurally, and in terms of like maybe some of the melodies, a little bit more, I hate to say it, but more, I guess more commercial, more just like normal songwriting in what we, like kind of in Western music tend to write as. Whereas more experimental with Mercyful Fate, but you know, maybe because like they were just, you know, teenagers, just like, there's a cool riff, this is a cool riff, you know, we can make them work, we'll make them work, and they somehow make these like very you know, sections of songs that seem very removed from each other, somehow make them flow together, which is like just so creative and like really interesting, really cool.
So the band, you know, Mercyful Fate. So you guys have more prog, I guess, elements to the music. So that puts a lot more requirements on you, more demand, because, you know, as a bass player, I mean, you know, that's, you know, you're playing more like Kansas versus Van Halen, right?
Yeah, whereas like, I guess for King Diamond stuff, like, both King Diamond and Mercyful Fate stuff, like, were extremely challenging on guitar. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but like the bass, it seems like there's a lot more to tackle in Mercyful Fate, especially structurally. Again, like, it's just a lot of different stuff to learn, a lot of different riffs to learn, and sometimes you'll be kind of listening to the guitars and the bass is just something you wouldn't expect. So yeah, it takes a little while longer to kind of learn it and absorb it fully.
And you know, you're so cool to take on the interview right away, Becky. And I mean, I got to say, King Diamond, I mean, he's got people that are really lovely people in his camp. You know, just really good people that I personally have had the pleasure to get to meet and to know.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's also the mark of a true, you know, a true statesman, or someone who's really who knows the game, who knows, you know, like what kind of people to have, you know, next to you, have in your camp and your team, your army, you know, you're marching alongside of you. I mean, really, that's what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, but you know, it's kind of wild that I didn't know him before he asked me to do that first tour in 2022. But I don't know, maybe just kind of got a good feel for like who he thinks he wants to have play for him, because, you know, of course then I wasn't going to join the band. It wasn't, you know, that wasn't the plan. It was just to do that one tour.
So you're kind of sort of filling in a sense?
Yeah, I was just filling in, and so, and you know, we hadn't met before, but he was like, yeah, I want you to do this tour. But I don't know, maybe he'd like looked at enough stuff online and thought, like, I think you know, this person would fit into the tour well, you know, both musically and in personality. So I'm glad he took that risk, because that must be quite risky, you know, like, you're locked in a bus together for like 5 weeks. You don't want to be falling out.
and also there's a dynamic, you know, when you have male and female in a band, it's certainly a dynamic, you know, because I've had I've experienced that myself. So, what I've noticed is that there's certain females that are super, serious, like amazing musicians, like just like on every level and professional, and but when it becomes like, and males too, like it's just, it could be an interesting dynamic that doesn't always, and even for the fans, like they expect, like, okay, well, Whitesnake, they have all males for a long time, and a female joins them, so it's just kind of, I'm open to that completely. I have no hesitation or reservation, but I think it's a good conversation to bring up the obvious point. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It's like, well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know what it's like to be on a tour where it's all male, because I've never experienced that. But I guess some of these bands have experienced that. I've mostly been on tours where it's mixed.
Right.
Very occasionally, like when I was playing in small bands and it was like. It was all female, then I've experienced that. But yeah, I don't know what it's like, how it does change if you add a woman to the mix, because I guess I've always been in the presence of myself.
Well, I mean, you're
yeah,
it's being ubiquitous but also being professional, but I think like
there's a move towards it, and like actually that was something that King mentioned. He said like, oh well, Whitesnake can have like a female bass player, like why have we not considered this before? Like why is this list of bass players have been suggested only men? Like we could do it, like Whitesnake, and it's not that like, oh, we're doing it because Whitesnake are doing it, like this is the new trend, but it's just like you start realizing, well, why does it have to be like this? And there's only a small handful of people that are going to kick off about it, like you can't have a girl in Mercyful Fate. Like I've had these comments, and it is a minority of people. They have no reasoning behind it. They're just, something about it just really upsets them, and like I don't know what that is, but they can go and be mad about it, and that's fine by me.
I mean, I only bring it up because it's an obvious thought, but for me, I totally support women and everything. I support people from all races, all genders. I mean, I don't have a problem with people, whatever they do on their own time, but I mean, when you're part of a team, it's like you're there to be part of that team, right? It's like you work for a company. I mean, you're doing the company dance kind of thing.
Yeah, you're just doing a job. You just have dreams and a career like everyone else, and it's great that finally that women are being accepted to also have the same hopes and dreams and career ideas, and that we can do the things that have been afforded to men for a long time. So it's cool. Yeah, like of course, like I never expected this kind of thing to happen, especially in this way. I always wanted to be in bands, and I really did imagine myself in bands. But I wasn't imagining myself in Mercyful Fate. Like that is like a very surreal
that's a
turn of fate. Yeah,
it's a great accomplishment, and also it speaks volumes to your playing, your professionalism, your personality, your getting along with others, working with people, because really that's, I mean, you guys are the harmony and the I guess the word I'm looking for is just the flow. Like you guys just flow together. It's not like you're standing out and like, oh, it's a flamboyant woman in the band, but there are those people in bands where that person might stand out like a lot more in a sense of
like who can stand out more than King Diamond though? Like,
right,
it's like,
right.
I don't think he's feeling very like challenged in terms of like is this person gonna outshine the front person? Like it's fucking King Diamond. No, it's cool.
So tell me about your influences before you had the opportunity to play with King, and kind of your background, a little bit about that.
Like I'm definitely like an old school kind of metalhead. Like the big band that I was really obsessed with was Metallica, and that just opened the doors to so many things, like obviously including Mercyful Fate. Got the went through, bought every album, including Garage Inc. Then kind of researched all the bands that they covered over that album, and and Motorhead as well. That was another early band that I was like interested in. Black Sabbath, just like the big heavy metal greats.
So you were hard and heavy from the get-go, from the beginning, and your pedigree has always been to that heavier side.
Since I've been playing bass, like definitely. I've always listened to music. I guess I discovered metal when I was about 12 or something. But before then I was like listening to like Michael Jackson and like pop and a lot of like 70s and 80s music. And then kind of maybe probably through like Hawkwind, my dad's a big Hawkwind fan, and so through that kind of the concept of like Lemmy and how cool he was, bass, heavy metal, and like then everything just starts to expand, and like and then suddenly the internet was a thing, like when I was a teenager, and like it was suddenly just new, and message boards, and like you can find like people can recommend you all these albums to check out, and it's just amazing. Like because the music that I listened to wasn't really popular at the time. It was more of like I guess the music at the time was more like emo and Linkin Park and stuff, and like I really enjoyed a lot of those bands, but the thing that really kind of caught me was like 80s metal, basically.
So just wanted to ask you, Becky, in terms of Mercyful Fate, I had a couple of questions. I was just wondered, now that you've been in the band for a year plus, and you have your footing with the band, you guys have toured, and I don't know if you're recording an album or if that's do you guys have a new recording that's being done?
Yeah, so it's in the kind of demoing process at the moment. Instrumentally, it's mostly there, and so the next step is for King to work on it. But King also needs to put out the King Diamond album this year, hopefully. So it should be this year, and then he'll do a European tour, and then it's Mercyful Fate time. So it's kind of like, there's the order that things need to happen. So, hopefully this year we'll be able to start on, finishing the album, like finishing it in terms of like lyrics. Jackal of Salzburg, that song has already been performed live. That's going to be on the album. King has done some really amazing things with the demo version that he's been working on. And then, towards the end of the year, probably some singles, hopefully, or if not, then next year.
Any working song ideas, titles, lyrics, anything?
I'm not going to give anything away.
Okay.
I don't feel qualified to
I understand.
divulge that kind of information.
I just thought I'd ask, but
I haven't been told what I am and not allowed to say.
Okay.
It probably means I can say anything, to be honest.
So there's some ideas being worked on then?
Oh, yeah. Like, there's songs with names. There's concepts. Like, I'm not going to sing you a little riff, but
okay.
like there are riffs.
Excellent. Thank you. And I just wondered, that was actually my question in terms of, how you see things now that you've been in the band. I mean, do you have a different outlook or kind of rear view mirror look to where you first were when you joined the band? I mean, does it give you any, things that you've kind of picked up from, of course, playing with King, and that you might have done differently, or anything that you've learned that you feel is something you were not aware of? I mean, of course, we all learn things every day, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Not really. Like, I think a lot of the learning was going on in the first tour that I did with them. That was a longer tour. But the ones that I did like last year, it was quite a short stint. So I'm sure there is something that I learned, but I can't remember what it was.
That's okay.
It's in there.
Well, I appreciate your candidness and your honesty.
Could I make something up? No, I might not. I've got nothing. Sorry.
So, any plans to go see any manufacturers at NAMM, or anything that you're endorsed with, or anybody that you want to mention?
Yeah. So Seymour Duncan pickups, I've used them for like 7 years, and last year we actually managed to like have a proper conversation about like the pickups and stuff, and they've helped me a lot this year, so I want to speak to them a little bit more, maybe hang out at their booth and see what they've got planned out for this year. And my other endorsements, like, don't actually I think like that Seymour Duncan's the only one that have a physical booth to visit. The others are like kind of here in a more metaphorical sense.
Right.
I don't know, they're here, but they don't have a physical space.
Some of them are walking around, they don't have a booth, because
Yeah.
it's expensive to have a booth.
Yeah, and it's understandable, like, they've got other priorities to have, like, I'd love for them to have a booth, but, if they think that, if they're looking after their business in other ways, then I respect that.
Yeah.
Like,
so you have bass guitar and amplification sponsors.
Yeah, so like Seymour Duncan pickups, Diodario strings.
Of course.
Alperius custom pick guards. Hang on, let me make sure I've got everything. I'm sure there's one more.
We're challenging you now.
Yeah.
Huh? Memory banks, right?
That's the main ones I've got going at the moment.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you. It's just a
Thank
pleasure, a great pleasure.
Woken me up. My jet lag is like real bad tonight, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I could. But a nice conversation.
So when did you fly in? Back
on Monday. But,
okay, so you've had a couple of days.
Yeah, but still,
Sort of.
like I woke up at like 3:30 in the morning. Yesterday. So I got like maybe 3 or 4 hours sleep, and then this morning I woke up at 4:30, and I got to bed at like 1, and I'm like,
yikes!
Like, I need more sleep. But yeah, thank you for talking to me. It's
a pleasure. Well, if you keep going to these things after the show, like after NAB, like then you're never going to you're going to be on the European schedule completely.
Yeah.
You'll get back home and you'll be like, oh, I'm waking up at 3 a.m. Hey, it's the right time here. So we're 8 hours ahead over there. So like, okay, fine, we're right on the clock.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Becky. It's a pleasure. Enjoy the Metal Hall of Fame.